When arguing the difference between ongoing or month-to-month membership agreements and contracts or term agreements, one of the most critical functions that makes a term agreement or a contract tick is the escape clause. Hi folks, I'm Paul from Marshall Business Matters, and today we're discussing escape clauses in your term agreements, how to structure them, why they're important, and some tips and tricks for best practices. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're talking about escape clauses in contracts. And before we get too much into it, I want to go ahead and reiterate that I am not an attorney. When we talk about contracts and paperwork and logistics, you want to make sure that you always consult with an attorney who is licensed to practice in your state, and preferably one who is specialized in small business or contract law. This information is purely for informative and entertainment purposes only. Take nothing that I say to the bank, take it to your attorney and ask for clarification. So let's get right into it. When we talk about an escape clause, what we're really talking about is a way of canceling out or nullifying an existing contract. These are very common in a variety of industries, and in service-based industries like the martial arts or dance or gymnastics, they typically come in the form of, in a month-to-month agreement, an X days notice clause for termination, and in a term agreement, either an X days notice clause for termination or a fee to close clause for termination. So we're going to discuss both. I only want to kind of touch upon month-to-month agreements. And again, I shot a video recently about the difference between month-to-month and ongoing and term and contracts. And I'm going to link that here and down below so you can go watch that as a primer. But when we talk about a month-to-month agreement, and again, there's lots of good reasons to have those in your school, it is important that you make sure to pay attention to the specifics of how you structure canceling a month-to-month or an ongoing agreement. Your state might have specific rules and regulations set up for exactly how that has to be structured by law, and your attorney will know those details. But some typical examples are 14-day notice to cancel, 30-day notice to cancel, and 1 billing cycle notice to cancel. I didn't put that up here on the board, but 1 billing cycle notice to cancel. And these are simply ways to establish exactly how that contract can be nullified, and they provide you as the service provider some sort of protection against unexpected loss of revenue. Take, for example, the 14-day notice to cancel. Let's say that you have an ongoing membership option in your school, a month-to-month agreement, and it's, I don't know, $200 a month. And that's something that you base your numbers on. You consider that money that you're expecting to come in. And in my previous video, I talked about the potential pitfall of having a large number of students just drop off the face of the earth and quit your school without any kind of notice, and how that could put you into a financial predicament. And this 14-day notice is specifically there to protect against that kind of a thing. Now, it's not going to protect you against unexpected student loss, but it will protect you from catastrophic, unexpected, immediate loss of revenue. By putting a 2-week buffer between the time that somebody says that they're quitting and the time that that person stops having to pay you, you're building out a little bit of a protection zone for you. And again, a protection zone for you, your school, and the other students in your school. Now, 2 weeks isn't a long time. It's typically half a billing cycle if you're billing every single month. But it's a very, very, very low barrier of entry. If you're having any kind of issues selling the idea of your memberships to people and you're giving a lot of commitment-based objections, having a 14-day notice to cancel, that is easy, easy, easy. You can lift that up on a silver platter and say, it doesn't matter what you sign, it's only 2 weeks notice to cancel. Now, the flip side of that is that it really doesn't matter what they sign because it's only 2 weeks notice to cancel, but there are psychological components. You know, if somebody signs a 2 or 3 year contract, even if it is just a 2-week notice to cancel, there's a psychological commitment there, and so there's a value even if you have a very low barrier for cancellation. Another common one is 30 days notice to cancel. This one is a little bit more common, and it's the exact same thing. It's just 1 full billing cycle notice to cancel. And that way you're protecting yourself kind of for a month against unexpected loss of revenue. So those are pretty common in ongoing membership agreements, but they're also used in term agreements. As I just mentioned, you might have a 2 or 3 year contract available at your school and only a 14 or 30-day notice to cancel. In that case, you're kind of leaning on the psychological component of the initial commitment, but it's still very easy for them to quit. And this is something that you can offer up as a way of overcoming someone's objection to signing up. You can say, listen, the relationship looks like it works right now, but that might change. We want to try and make the commitment up front, because making that commitment helps us overcome little hurdles, but big hurdles we need to think about. And so for that reason, we have this termination clause. It's 30 days notice to cancel, even though it is a 2-year contract. And that allows you to correct for catastrophic changes in your life, whether it's a loss of a job, or you wreck your car, or your kid falls down a flight of stairs and breaks their neck. These are catastrophic events that might dramatically affect your decision to participate in the martial arts at this school. And so that's why we have this 30-day notice to cancel, even though it is a 2-year contract. Very easy way to overcome that objection. And so that day's notice termination clause, that exists in both ongoing and term agreements. The pay to close option, again, you're going to want to consult with the attorney who's licensed to practice in your state, but the pay to close option is pretty much, at least from my anecdotal experience, exclusive to term agreements, those 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contracts that you are selling in your school. You will see a lot of schools using a pay to close feature for those types of events, where it's, hey, the contract has a face value of, I don't know, let's say it's a 1 year contract and it's $200 a month. That means the contract has a face value of $2,400. They're just paying it out over the course of 12 months. But they could cancel it anytime by paying a flat rate of, I don't know, $300, 1.5 months regular tuition to make the rest of the contract go away. They could be 6 months in and looking at their budget and realizing, well, I've still got $1,200 to pay on this contract, but I could instead just pay $300 and the other $900 goes away. That's a really popular way of setting up a termination clause in a term agreement. Another one is percentage based. And this one's a little bit trickier. Let's say that we do have that 1 year contract, that 12-month term, and it's a face value of $2,400, which breaks out to $200 a month. A way of doing it as a percentage termination clause would be to say that they can void the contract, they can cancel out the contract by paying 50% of the remaining contract value, or the remaining balance of the contract, to dissolve the agreement. And so if we play with the math a little bit, let's say that it's a 1 year contract, it's a $2,400 face value, they get 6 months in and they decide it's not for them anymore. They don't want to do it anymore. They're done with you. So if they're 6 months in to a 12-month agreement, and that agreement has a face value of $2,400 at the beginning, that means that it has a remainder, or a remaining balance, of $1,200. And your termination clause is that to close out the contract, they have to pay 50% of that remainder, meaning they would pay $600 to close the contract versus the rest of that $1,200 over the next 6 months. And these are all viable ways of setting up your agreements. These are all viable. And I say that because, in fact, at my school, we use all of these. And I'll give you the example. So on my ongoing membership agreements, we offer a 14-day notice to cancel. This is super valuable when it comes to selling that membership agreement, because it's a very expensive membership. Again, as I mentioned in my previous video, to be an ongoing member here at my school, it is $100 a month more than to be a contract member. It's expensive. And so we make it really, really easy for them to drop out. 14-day notice, great, have fun, enjoy your life, we're done. Makes it very easy to sell. If they're super scared of commitments and they're not super worried about price, then having only a 14-day notice, well, that makes it a little bit easier to sell that membership. We also use a percentage-based cancellation or a termination clause in our 12-month term agreement, which we call our basic program, and that percentage is 50% of the remainder. We also use a flat fee to close on our longer term agreements. So we have 2-year, 3-year contracts available, and on those, it's a flat fee to close. It's $300 or $200 or $400 depending on the program. It's 1.5 months broken out tuition basically. And we use all of those at my school, and we use them all very successfully. How you plug these into your various different program offerings is entirely up to you. But if you want to use my model, then it's basically this. On your ongoing, you would use either a 14 or 30-day notice to cancel. On your shorter term agreements, you would use a percentage basis to cancel. And on your longer term agreements, you would use a flat rate to cancel. Again, that's just my model for success. You don't have to listen to me or follow my advice, but maybe you're watching this channel for a reason. I don't know. But there it is. Those are the various types of escape clauses, both for ongoing and for term agreements. Different ways to set them up, different kind of common practices within the industry, and hopefully you find this helpful. If you did find this helpful, please like, subscribe, ring the little bell so you don't miss any future updates. And once again, thanks for watching. Remember, you do watch Marshall Business Matters because Marshall Business matters. Take care.